Hey guys, how's it going? It's Maniac here. Today I'm going to show you some high-level Widowmaker gameplay to give you an idea of what you should be looking out for when you're playing the French Smurf herself. Widowmaker has extremely high kill potential and is super effective when she's in the right hands. For more guides just like this one by other top 500 professionals, be sure to go check out GameLeap.com where you can get a leg up on the competition by learning all about every hero in Overwatch. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the video. So getting right into it, I like to start my Widow positioning up here on Rialto, just because it gives me some nice lines of sight. The Widow's usually going to come out of top right, so it's pretty easy to predict. And then I try to get a shot on this Lucio, but not quite right. I call out that this Rhine was there late, hoping my team will engage early on them, but unfortunately they don't, so it doesn't really work out this way. But I'm able to call out at least what I can see, which is an Ana, Rhine, and a Lucio so far, and now we can check scoreboard and see what they're running. So now, I move back into this position here, a little bit low and kind of close. So this gives me a range of sight that I can look at down here over where the payload's coming from, and lets me see exactly what they're having come through main and if they're going to be having any flankers. Because obviously I can see this Lucio up here, I can see this door back here, and it does leave me a little bit exposed to coming down the alley here, but I'm not super worried about that, as in most cases, another team who's standing right here will see them. But now, the Tracer got called, so I turned to try to peel for my supports here, but unfortunately my Zen does go down, and I think my Ana was already out at this point. The Lucio gets pressured away, Genji tries to push me. I know I'm trying to bait out deflect, but I do end up getting hit by that Rhine. So unfortunately we lose the first fight here. It puts us in a pretty bad place, but we're able to bounce back from it pretty well. So I'm careful not to use my hook out of spawn, because I want to take high ground so I can try to pick them while they're still trying to cap the first point. However, as I'm coming out, I see this Rhine sticking out his head about to try to do something sneaky to my teams as they're coming out of spawn. So I call it out and go for high ground, hoping that they can kind of take care of him. I try to get a shot in, but he charges out and I'm not able to do anything myself, but the Zen finishes him off well. Unfortunately though, I gave up my high ground that I wanted. It wasn't really on purpose, it was an accident, but that does put me in a little bit more of a predicament as I have to kind of push up this bridge a little bit to get high enough to see anything. Me and the Zen get the pick on the Tracer, but then we get dived. And I see this Genji. I'm trying to bait out deflect, but he doesn't seem to want to use it. And then he uses it here. And here I know he's probably going to go for the dash on me, especially since his fire strike's likely to hit me. So I let him, and then I go for the shot while he's in mid-dash. This is actually a really underrated way of killing Genjis, because there is actually a travel time, and it's really easy to hit him. He may do the damage, but he's locked in the animation. He's really easy to hit when he's dashing straight at you. So I see this line right here, this Widow line, and that tells me that they now have a Widow. So, because of that, I know I need to be a little bit more careful, can't play quite as exposed, and so I want to be a little careful. I'm able to pick off that Zarya, and then I kind of just get in a position where I'm looking for that Widow. The Tracer picks the Ana with the nade, which is really good. But the Widow took high ground, and I thought I'd be able to hear her hook from that distance, but unfortunately I didn't. So I wasn't really prepared that she was up there. So here, I pop walls in response to the enemy Widow popping her walls, which on defense is a pretty solid way to play it whenever both teams are running Widow. I try to hit this Lucio, but he does have some pretty good movement, and the Rhine gets hooked by my Roadhog, and I'm able to put a shot in, hoping just to help my Roadhog get the finishing kill, but I end up getting the finishing blow for him. So here, I can't really be playing super aggressive, but I see that Widow, and honestly, it's just too much of an opportunity. So I know that she can't really get help because the Ana won't have sights on her. And the worst the Ana can do to me is nade me, but the Widow's still going to have to hit a fully charged body shot on me to kill. But Tracer's already up here, I'm up here, and now this Widow's dead. Trying to bait out deflect on this Genji, not quite working, and this Lucio starts putting pressure into me at range, so I try to start backing up. Pull back, Ana's able to heal me because she's on high ground to my left, and then I get a nice shot on that Lucio. That's going to slow them down a little bit, so I back up here just to clear things up. I see that Widow shot, and I'm able to get the pick on her really easily after that Tracer reveals where she is. The Genji went back, which is why I dropped mine there, and then I move forward, try to see if I can pick something going on bridge, and I'm able to finish that Ana. Roadhog gets the hook on the Zarya, but not the finish, but for some reason, I decided to try to target the Lucio instead. I guess I just trusted them in the moment, which was a good call because they did finish her off. I see that Widow. I see that she's still back behind the first choke, so I'm trying to look for her, trying to see if she's going to come out. I move forward. I see her jump up high, so I go for the hold, and I end up getting pressured off. So I'm trying to go for off angles here. I see that her gun's still up there, so she's not holding the angle on me. But the Genji blade forces me to back up, and then I end up getting overrun here by the Lucio and Winston who dived me. It was a good play on their part. I can't really complain about it. There wasn't really anything I could do in that situation. So now I've got walls ready, and she just happens to pop them as well. So I pull him out. I call it there was a Winston in the back. He gets discorded, and we're able to finish him off between Ana, Zen, and myself. Now I see the Widow up there. I know she still has walls, so I try to get the pick on her, or at least occupy her time. I really hate those handrails. A lot of times I'll actually punch them to break them before we get to a fight like that, but I didn't do that in this case. So it ends up taking the shot for her. I get the body shot and I call it out. They get the sleep on the Lucio, but he's on healing. I get another body shot on the Widow, and they go in to finish her off. They end up getting the Lucio. I actually don't think they get the Widow here, but it was a nice attempt. I get a nice headshot on the Winston, call it out, and I think here is where they said he's one, you can tickle him. No, he gets away here. That's somewhere else. But this Widow here, not a very smart position. As you can see, I'm actually going to back that up a little bit. But as you can see with this Widow position, this is a really bad place to be, because even when you're crouching, if you're up against that wall, you are entirely visible. I can absolutely headshot her here. I'd miss the shot and don't hit it till she stands up, but you can absolutely get headshot there while not being able to do anything about it yourself. So the Genji dashes me, ends up getting hit by the mine, but he gets bubbled, so I know that I have to back up now. So I back up, I get some healing, and it's good. He gets pressured away. Now the monkey pops his ult. I tell the Zen to discord him as soon as he comes out. Unfortunately, he doesn't, but it's okay because we do end up killing him. The Lucio gets discorded. I try to finish him off, but I don't think I do. I think he gets out here. That's the thing about Lucio. He's a little slippery, but the Roadhog is close enough to punch him after that. And here, the Widow's on high ground. She seems to have a habit of not coming off of high ground, so I try to hold the angle, but I didn't realize they had switched to a Hanzo, so now they're running double snipers for me to be dealing with. So I pop walls. She just had popped them as well right as I was spawning, so I know that our times are really synced. Try to get the shot. I can't hit it, but now she's not looking for me, so I'm able to get a pick on her. I go for the shot on Lucio just to help put a little extra damage in, just in case, but the Roadhog's got it all cleaned up. Now, we push forward. Oh, this is where the Winston got tickled, or was just like literally 1 HP, so someone called that you could just tickle him. So the Hog went for it, gets the kill on the Hanzo as well, and that puts us in a nice position. Now here, I get a nice shot on the Ana. I was pretty happy with that one. And I'm able to flick over to the Widow and take her down as well. I like to be changing up where I'm playing from low ground to high ground here, because there's really 4 or 5 different angles you can be using on this point. To be defending, and so it's really nice to just be switching it up a little bit. The 3 I mainly use are the ones where I'm at right now, the one directly above me inside the window, and the one in the balcony that actually is closer to looking over towards their spawn. I don't use that one quite so much whenever I'm up against another Widow, or especially 2 snipers, but it is a very strong spot to use. Now Genji uses deflect. I see the Hanzo, and they're running Widow. So now I know for certain they're running 3 DPS. It hadn't clicked in my head until this point, but the Widow hooked over. I heard her hook, and also I think our McCree is the one who called it. So we look for her, try to get some pressure on her, and I'm able to get the pick on her as well. I do get overrun by this Lucio here, but the important thing I want to go over here is that it's really, really important as a Widow that you're able to outplay the other Widowmaker. If you aren't beating the other Widowmaker in at least 8 out of the 10 fights that you get in, you need to be switching off of Widow. So here I heard the Genji coming up, so I decided to pop walls. I get the body shot on him, but the Lucio's coming up as well. The Lucio decides to push while the Genji retreats, and I'm able to finish him for it. The Widow had popped walls right after me, so I actually set the pace on that one, and I'm able to get a nice shot on her. I look for the Hanzo, but he doesn't peek over. I was hoping he would climb over the payload, but no such luck there. So me and the Hog decide we're just gonna body shot him down. Lucio comes in here, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Solo sound barriers, but with 5 people doing damage to you, it's just not gonna happen. So overall, it was a good hold. We managed to hold almost to the end of second point, But it was a good job. It's easily attainable, as most of the time you'll get shut down a little bit before the third point. About halfway through is where most of these maps get stalled out, or around the first corner in that very first choke that you're in. The two hardest spots are the corner outside of third point and the corner at the first choke around first point. If you can get past the first point corner and you can get past the third point corner, you've got a pretty good setup to actually win it. So now I actually decide not to go for my normal strategy of going out the high left window, just because they have a widow and I feel like she would be expecting it. So I go out here, trying to see if I can find anything, go on the flank because they seem like the kind of players who would do that. Call out the Genji on top right. Not able to get the kill on him, unfortunately. See, the Lucio kills himself, which I thought was pretty funny in the moment. And the Rein charges over from left here. And I see the Widow up high. Get the body shot. I don't finish her, but the Tracer does, so that's really nice. I'm looking for this Ana. She's Discord. She's in the back. She's partially exposed. So I'm going to go for the kill, and there it is. A headshot would have been nicer, but we'll take what we can get. So after getting the Ana, I like to move over here a little bit, see if I can get an off angle on them. For some reason, the Widow was actually expecting it, which I really wasn't prepared for. So she does end up finishing me here, which is just kind of how it goes sometimes. I go for the re-peek thinking that maybe she would fall off, but for some reason she didn't. She didn't have walls or anything, but she does end up body shotting me to death here. It happens, it's unfortunate, but I know that I'm still doing well, and I know that my team is also doing well, so I'm not too worried about it. We still got 3 minutes left, and I can play Widow. I've been out Widowing her all game, so I know that I can keep up with it. So coming out of spawn, I hook out just to be a little bit faster. Not really much, but it's there. Then I see the Widow on the left, so I take cover. I want to kill this Lucio, and I see the Widow. She moves a little further over than I was expecting, but I do go down. A little unfortunate. I was tempted to switch off of Widow, but at this point, I'm kind of committed. I know this is a really strong Widow map, so once we take this first point, I know that we'll be in the strongest part. And our Tracer finishes off the Widow, so that puts me in a nice position to go move up and try to get some picks before she gets back. So I hook over for some mobility. The Hanzo's on high ground. He drops down. I'm looking for him. I didn't know that he went that far out. And I get him down really low, so I just start spraying, get the shot. But my entire team's dead, so after picking the Ana, I decide to try to back out here. I go for the Widow. I see her up there. Neither one of us are hitting any shots, really. I'm hoping that I'd be able to peek just out enough, but she goes for the hook. So I pop walls and try to go aggressive, but she hides. I get another body shot, but she's getting healed. She's sending a Genji and a Hanzo after me. So I have to play a little bit more passive, back out of here, and hopefully my team can regroup. The Tracer finishes off the Hanzo up high, which is a really big thing for us. The Rein goes for this charge. He gets slept, but I decided to just machine gun him down since he's also discorded. Go back up on high ground, try to see what I can get a nice headshot on the Genji, and try to go get into position. Now the Lucio was behind us, so I turn around to try to help out with that. I've body shot him, Tracer finishes him off, and it's an easy point cap for us. We start taking bridge fairly quickly. I go to move up to see if I can stop the aggression from the enemy Widow. So she popped walls there, but I was still able to finish her off, and it was pretty easy. So now I just regroup, get some health, and think about where I'm going to position for the next push. So I see that the Hanzo and the Genji are both up on high ground. I see the Genji back there. I call out that I body shot him. He gets out. I go for the shot, but just couldn't quite make it. And I go over here and didn't even see this Ana. Unfortunately, she does get the drop on me, especially since she hit that nade, and I wasn't able to pick up that health pack over there. Ryan's able to trade her out with me, but he ends up deflecting his, he ends up getting hit by his deflected fire strike. So, now we're in a regroup situation. We need to just kind of back off, and I decide I need to go look for this Widow, because she's probably going to be on high ground. I see her, she's not ready for me. I missed the first shot, but she's not ready to respond to the second either. So we start taking, they're down one player, and then I see that the Widow switches Brig, and I know that my job gets a lot easier. So I pop walls here in a second, and then I go over the wall to try to get in the flank position. I see the Brig, and I actually think at this point that I'm screwed, because she probably just heard me, but apparently not. And I guess I was just a little shaky, because I thought I was going to die there, so I missed some shots here. Unfortunate, but it happens. And I see Lucio and the Rein start chasing me up the stairs, so I say get the hell out of there. and live to fight another day. Lucio drops down, the Rhine doesn't. He goes for the shatter, did some spinning weird things, so I wasn't able to headshot him, but it puts us in a nice position to finish the cap and finish the round. So there it is, that's my gameplay of Widow on Rialto. It wasn't anything super spectacular, but by switching around my positioning, calling out whatever I hit whenever it was only a body shot, and just letting my team know the best I could of what was going on around them and what was going on around me, it worked out pretty well and we held pretty nicely. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and can take what you learned to go dominate your games as Widowmaker. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. If you're serious about improving, make sure to go check out GameLeap.com, where you can learn all about every hero you'd like. Whether you're wanting to be more flexible, trying to improve at a hero, or even looking for a better understanding of a hero you're having difficulty against, it is a great source of information. But yeah, that's going to be all from today, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.